Hi guys, in this tutorial I will show you how to make this beautiful mosaic pattern. You can use it for covers, pillows, bags or whatever you can think of. If you like this pattern, give me a thumbs up, and if you haven't subscribed yet and want to see more free patterns, I'd love it if you do so. If you have a question or a request for next tutorial, let me know in the comments down below. For this tutorial, you need a number 3 acrylic yarn. You can use cotton as well, but I use 100% acrylic yarn. It is a number 3 yarn, and I have lots of scraps, so I use them in this project. So you need your scraps, or you just need 2 colors. That is totally up to you. And you need 1 base color. So in my case, it is cream white, and I have 2 skeins of this. So 2 times 280 meters. You also need a number 4, a 4mm crochet hook. You also need the pattern chart. You can find it in the free written pattern that is on the website. The link to the website is in the description box down below. When we look at the chart, you see there are a lot of boxes. Every box is a stitch, and you see at the bottom the pattern is in multiples of 8, so when you make it bigger or smaller, you always count in multiples of 8. It is an 8-row repeat, so after 8 rows you start the pattern all over again. On the right at the bottom you see number 1, that is row 1 or round 1 if you work in a round. We read the chart from right to left. Row 1 you see a whole row of empty boxes, and at the end of row 1 you see an A. And when we look at the top of the chart, you see that A is our base color. So every uneven row is worked in the base color. For me that is cream white, but you can use any color you like. In row 1 you see all empty boxes, and every empty box is 1 stitch, and an empty box is a single crochet in the back loop only. So every empty box is a single crochet in the back loop only. We don't look at the colors, that's just to show you how the finished pattern looks, but when you work up the pattern you don't look at the colors, you just look at the boxes and if there is an X or an empty box. So in row 1 you see there are all empty boxes, so there are only single crochets in the back loop only. So you work all your way around or the whole row in single crochets in the back loop only. In row 2 you see 2 X's, and you see at the end of row 2 that there's a B. And B, when you look at the top of the chart, you see B is the contrasting color. So I use my scraps for that, but you can use 1 color that contrasts with your base color. So every even row is worked up in a contrasting color. You see in row 2 that there are 3 empty boxes. The first 3 are empty, so the first 3 are single crochets in the back loop only, and then there is a box with an X. And every box with an X is a double crochet in the front loop 1 row below. So in the row where we make the single crochets in the back loop only. So this is how you read the chart. Let's start with the pattern. You can choose to make this pattern in the round, or you make it flat. That is totally up to you. If you want to make it flat, then you start with a single crochet foundation chain for the width you want, or start with a chain and work a row of single crochets on top. Then at the end of every row you cut your yarn and bind off and start your new row always at the same side. So you don't turn your work, always work in rows from right to left, or if you are left-handed you work from left to right. I show you in this tutorial how to make the pattern in the round. So if you want to do that, you make a chain for the width you want. So let's start with that. So make a slip knot, put it on your hook and chain the width you need for your project. I need 40 centimeters, so I chain the length of 40 centimeters. Okay. This is not 40 centimeters, but I'm going to show you on a little swatch and then show you the big pattern. So this is a chain for the width that you want, and then you chain 1 extra, and then we work single crochet. So insert the loop on your hook doesn't count as a stitch. The first stitch we skip and then insert in the next stitch. And I pick up, you have the top and the bottom loop, I pick up the top loop to make my stitches. So I can work the other stitches on the other side in the bottom loop. So make 1 single crochet in every stitch across. Okay, the last one before the last stitch. Now I have 1 stitch left. In the last stitch you make 3 single crochet to work your around the corner. So you make 1 single crochet, another single crochet in the same stitch, then turn your work and work another single crochet in that same stitch. And then you worked around the corner, and now just making 1 single crochet on the other side of the beginning chain, until you have 1 stitch left. So I make 1 more. And now I have the first stitch left. We've already made 1 stitch in the first stitch, because this is your first stitch from the beginning. So we need 2 more in this stitch. So in the last stitch you make 2 more, 1 and 2, and then close your round with a slip stitch in the first stitch, and then your first part is done, and it should look like this. So chain the length you need, make a round of single crochets around, making 3 on every end. You can make this any length you like, but keep in mind that the pattern is in multiples of 8, so you have to add 8 stitches at a time. When you've done that for the length you need, then I'll meet you back. So when you finished your base and you worked in multiples of 8, my base is 160 stitches all the way around, so I made a chain of 79, including the corner stitches and multiples, because you work the bottom and the top, and you have 2 corners, 2 ends, you have 160 stitches. So I have 20 repeats in my pattern. Maybe you have 1 repeat or 15 or 8. That is totally fine if you work in multiples of 8. So when I take my work, then we need to make a whole round of empty boxes. An empty box is a single crochet in the back loop only. So you see here a front loop and a back loop. So here's the front loop. So here's the front loop. And here's the back loop. We use the back loops only. So insert in the back loop, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2. Then in the back loop of every stitch around. So pick up your back loop and make a single crochet. Back loop, single crochet, front loop, back loop, insert in the back loop only and make a single crochet. Work your way all the way around, and if you get confused by which one is your first stitch, then mark that stitch with a stitch marker. Then you keep on track in your stitch count. So work your way around, making single crochets in the back loop only until you are at the first stitch again, and then I'll meet you back and show you how to go to row 2. Okay, when you finish the size you need and worked all the way around, then it's time to join and close your round. And when you work in rows, then you can bind off, cut your yarn. at the end of your row. And then you start at the front of the row again. So don't turn your work, start at the beginning again. When you're working around, then you want to join in the back loop of the first stitch. But instead of picking up the yarn that we are working with, we drop that yarn, pick up the new color, so color B, insert in the back loop of the first stitch, grab that yarn, pull through and pull through the loop on your hook. And now you joined your new color. Always pull the color from the row below, so you create a nice and tight join. That's important. Okay, this yarn you can leave it attached, and then we can start row 2. If we look at row 2, you see there are 3 empty boxes. So the first 3 are empty. So in the first stitch, so where you joined, insert your hook, yarn over, pull up a loop, and make a single crochet in the back loop only. The next as well, yarn over, pull up a loop, and pull through 2, back loop only. The next, single crochet in the back loop only. So we have 3 single crochets in the back loop only. The fourth box is one with an X. So there we make a drop down double crochet in the loop 1 row below, in the front loop. So here you see the stitch, and when we go down, you see here the horizontal bar. That is the front loop of the row below. So yarn over, pick up that loop from bottom to top, yarn over, pull up a loop, pull through 2, and pull through 2, like this. Then we have 7 single crochets in the back loop only. So when we go to the next stitch, so make sure you skip this stitch because this is your double crochet in the front loop, but skip this stitch, and then in the next 7 we make single crochets in the back loop only. So the back loop, single crochet, back loop, single crochet, back loop, single crochet, 4, 5, 6, and 7. Then there is a box with an X again, so that is a double crochet in the front loop of the row below. So here's the next stitch, go down, and here you see the front loop of the row below. So yarn over, go down to the front loop. You can pick it up like this as well. That is the easiest way. From bottom to top, then yarn over, pull up a loop, and finish your double crochet. And then 7 single crochets in the back loop again. Make sure you don't work in the stitch that is behind the double crochet. So this one, skip that one because the double crochet is this stitch, and then make 7 in the next 7. So single crochet in the back loop only. 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. And the next is a double crochet, drop down double crochet in the loop, front loop from the previous row. So here's the next stitch, yarn over, next stitch, go down to the front loop, pick it up from bottom to top, and make a double crochet. Skip the stitch behind because this is that stitch, and then make 7 single crochet in the back loops only of the next 7 stitches. So this is your repeat for the whole round. So keep working until you are at the last stitch, and then I'll meet you back. I'm at the end of round 2. I need 4 single crochets in the back loop only to complete my round. And that's 4. And that completes round 2. For round 3, when we look at the chart, we see that is in color A. It is an uneven number, so an uneven number always is in color A. So we join with color A. So you drop this color, insert in the front loop of the first stitch, then yarn over with color A, pull through the loop on your hook and pull tight. Important to pull tight. And now if you work in only 2 colors, then you can leave color B attached. I work every even row in another color, so I cut my yarn and I reattach another color, but color A, I leave it attached throughout the whole pattern. So this I cut, but first I show you how to start row 3. For row 3 is the first is an empty box, so the first stitch, so the stitch where you joined, is a single crochet in the back loop only. The next stitch is an X, so double crochet in the row below. So here is the next stitch and here is the front loop of the row below. So pick it up and make a double crochet like this. And then we have 7 single crochets. So skip the stitch behind the double crochet and make 7 single crochets in the back loop only. And then there's a box with an X again. So yarn over, here's your next stitch, go down and look for the front loop of the row below. Grab it from bottom to top and make a double crochet like this. And this is your repeat for row 3. 7 single crochets in the back loop only, 1 double crochet in the front loop of the row below. Work your way all the way around and then you can continue the pattern on your own. It is very easy. The repeat is every row the same. So we have 7 single crochets in the back loop only, in between 2 double crochets in the front loop of the row below. Only you start with either a double crochet or a number of single crochets in the beginning. So the double crochets are in a different spot every round or every row. That is all. Keep in mind that you join with the color of the row that's coming next and pull your yarn tight so you have a nice join, and then you're good to go. Keep working in rows or rounds until you think your project is the length you like, and then I'll meet you back. And here you can see what the pattern looks like. I hope you like it and I can't wait to see what you make with the pattern. Let me know in the comments down below. If you like this video, give me a thumbs up, and if you don't want to miss anything, subscribe to my channel by pressing the red subscribe button. Hope to see you next time. Bye.